Okay, here's a fun story. Did not make it into the book, but man, it's crazy. Are you ready? This is around 1990-ish. It's got to be 90, 91 because I was saving up for my fun bags. And this story, it started out during the afternoon, which means I was working doubles from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. And if you're wondering what kind of customers go to strip bars in the afternoon, well, you got your electricians, construction workers, your basic, just regular working guys or girls that just wanted a cold beer after work or maybe on their lunch break and look at some naked chicks, which I was happy to provide as long as I made the money. So it's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been there about an hour and the place is sparse. Maybe 2 people, maybe. But there was one customer who was sitting at the shower stage. Oh, I thought you'd never ask. What's a shower stage? Let me tell you, back in those days, we had 3 stages. There was a tip stage in the front. This is at this particular club. A tip stage in the front, a main stage, which is in the middle, and that's the bigger stage. And then on the far right, there was a shower stage, and it was made of plexiglass. We used Prel shampoo, Gen Xers. Remember Prel? Because it glowed in the black lights, which made us all look like the Hulk, which was pretty fun. This particular shower stage had a runway at the end of it. So imagine you're in the shower stage, you're dancing, you're sudsing up, you're glowing this green Prel, and after you get all, you're doing your Wet n Wild show, you can dance where the customers are sitting at the stage at this jet stream runway. So the runway went out a few feet. So this guy was sitting at the end of the runway, and he had a stack of bills that were pretty damn high. So hello, no brainer. In addition to the fact that he was the only one at the tip stage at all, I started dancing for him. I started getting in my groove, and it was a good thing that we were, he liked what he saw. So even though I was wet, we still had garters on our thighs. And if you are ever in the garter game, or if you've been in the garter game for a while, you can kind of tell by feel of how much money you're making. And this dude, like I said, his stack of bills was really high. So I was feeling my my garter, and I kind of knew I was close to $100. And I had been working double shifts for, I would say, 3 weeks in a row. So I was exhausted. But, I'm not going to turn down his cash, right? Pour Some Sugar on Me was playing, and his eyes lit up, my eyes lit up. Killer Def Leppard song. I tried to casually look at his stack of bills, but I noticed a couple zeros at the end of the next bill that he was using. And the way that he was tipping me, this is important, he was tipping me by looking at my body and taking the ones from his stack without looking at them. Okay, so imagine, you've got the stack of ones in front of you, you're looking at a naked body, and he's just, taking the ones, giving them to me or putting them in my garter. That's important, because when I noticed the 2 zeros at the end of that one, I knew it was a mistake. So what do you think I did? Do you think I told him about the $100 bill? Do you think I said, hey, I don't think you're aware that that's not a $1 bill that you're giving me? The answer may not surprise you, but what happened after? Oh my God, you're not going to believe it. Ready for part 2? So as you can imagine, I did not tell the customer he was about to tip me $100. So I gladly accepted his donation to the arts. And as I took the $100 bill, I started to get scared that he was going to freak out and call me out on it. So what I did was, very nonchalantly, I looked down at my garter. It was packed at this point, a little over $100. And I took the $100 bill and I grabbed the row of bills that I had in my garter and I just kind of twisted them to the back, if that makes sense. I kind of shoved it to the back of my thigh. And as I was still dancing, I knew exactly where the $100 bill was in my garter, and I pulled it out, crumpled it up in my hand, and kept dancing until I saw one of my girlfriends come out of the dressing room, which, by the way, is the same girlfriend who had the affair. Well, not the affair. She fooled around with the rock star. Her name is Layla. There's a whole chapter about it in my upcoming book. But anyway, so I found Layla, handed her the crinkled up $100 bill in my hand, and I gave it to her, and I said, hang on to this until I get off stage. smart, right? So if I got called out on it, I could show him my garter and say, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. Kind of shady, but you know, a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. It was 100 bones. What was I going to do? I mean, I'm going to take it, right? So one more song comes on, and I want to say it was The Cult, maybe. She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult. And I'm doing my Wet n Wild show. He's still tipping me, but he's giving me that look like, you little bitch. But he was a cool enough guy to know that he fucked up. He was just like, my bad, right? Right. Of course I'm going to take the $100 bill. I was also in my third week, remember, of working double shifts, 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's 12 hours, folks. Spiked heels. No clear heels back then with platforms. Spiked heels. I was in pain. I was exhausted. I needed a hot bath. So I took that $100 bill as a sign from the universe that it is time to take a night off. And if I didn't believe in guardian angels, I certainly did after this happened. Let's just put it this way. Had I not received that $100, that mistakenly $100 bill tip, in addition to the other tips that I received, and I took that as a sign from the universe, it was time to go home and relax. Had that not happened, I would have been there that night and had been arrested in handcuffs with a bunch of my other girlfriends. Because what happened? What do you hear? Okay, let's get this part 3 going. So I'm at home, I'm in the bathtub, and I was living alone at the time in my apartment. So whenever I live alone, I like to turn on the television just for some background noise, right? Just to have other voices in the house besides my head. Pause for laughter. I'm still in the bathroom, I'm toweling off, and I'm hearing the name of my club on the news. Something about the police, something about the club where I worked. So I rush out of the bathroom. Oh my God, the police raided the club. Women, naked on stage, my girlfriends, were not allowed to even cover up. They came in, everybody stopped, freeze kind of thing. Like, that's all I can think of is freeze. 90% of the dancers had cocaine on them. Remember, the time was in the early 90s, so we're on the heels of the 80s. And the glamour drug in the 80s was cocaine. When I say I could have been in handcuffs and have gone to jail, that's because I always had cocaine in my purse. I started doing that drug when I was 16 years old. So I was so desensitized to the fact that it was normal. And I knew that, it was a drug and it wasn't legal and all that, but it was so far in the back of my head because I always had it on me. It was just like having my keys in my purse or my wallet in my purse. But as I'm watching the news about this raid, I had an epiphany. Holy shit. Cocaine isn't legal. It's not normal. I could have gone to jail. So I'm freaking the fuck out. So there's no cell phones. There's no internet back then, right? I couldn't just pick up the phone and call one of my girls who was there at the club. So I just had to watch it play out on the news. And then the next day, I found out what went down. So many people got arrested. Customers were arrested for firearms. We had customers with guns. I would have never thought in a million years that I was dancing for customers with guns on them. So once again, my guardian angels need a smoke break because they were working overtime for me that night. Had I not received that $100 tip, had the events that didn't unfold exactly the way they unfolded to incentivize me to just go home and take a break, I would have been smack dab in the middle of that raid. I would have been arrested. It would have been on my record. Who knows how that would have affected me, because it definitely affected my friends. So thank you, guardian angels. Thank you, universe. And I hope you enjoyed the story.